And we're back. This is the Colombia Calling podcast. I'm your host, Richard McColl, here in Bogota. If you have been listening, you'll know that last week we had Oliver Treviso on the show talking about his hike along the Andes, 9 pairs of shoes, 8,000 miles, 21 months. Well, we're going to do a segment 2 of this one because we cut off last time and we hadn't heard everything. We kind of got to the border with Colombia. We heard all sorts of things like him crossing the Atlantic, crewing a boat that was not seaworthy, getting to Brazil. We've heard about the Welsh colonies in Argentina, falling, I think, down a crevasse somewhere up there. But we got to southern Colombia. And I think, Oliver, you're raising money for the mental health charity. Please tell us again what it is.
Mandes Gunlice.
Okay, the link is on our Facebook page, if you know it. But it's one in Wales. I wanted to ask you: are you personally connected to this entity?
Now I am through this, but I wasn't before. It was sort of recommended to me, really,
Oh,
and then I
nice.
got chatting to them. I saw that they needed help, and I went from there. It was like they really needed help in a hands-on sort of way, in a practical way. So I just took a liking to them, basically.
That's a good thing to do. That's a good thing to do. I like that very much. I like people raising money. And thing is, you spent a lot of money as we went over last week doing a hike along the Andes, but you're raising money all the same. So now you're back in Swansea and you're broke.
Yeah, exactly. Which is catch-22, really. But it is what it is.
You've had this incredible experience, and we
Exactly.
talked about some of the negatives and so on, and some of the challenges and so on. But I think at the end of it, it's this. There's a sort of as I'd say, the triumph of the human spirit, physically, mentally. You got through it,
Yeah.
and you got. I mean, really, without any major hiccups. But before we go further on, let's jump in and just say, okay, so you got up through Ecuador, which must have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you go over like Chimborazo or any of those places?
Yeah, so climbed the two highest peaks of Ecuador. So that was Cotopaxi and Chimborazo. So that took me up to over 6,000 meters, which was a first for me. So that was incredible as well. And actually, Ecuador is really impressive.
Yes.
It's such an because it's a lot smaller than the rest, but it's just so diverse. I found it really impressive. I didn't know too much about it before I arrived. Just heard a lot of things about conflict, actually, which it's got a lot of things going on the course, but I had a great time there.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear
So
it. So
yeah,
where did you cross into Colombia? If I can't remember where you told me.
I headed to Pasto, but I
Okay, you
forget the
headed
name.
through
There's
to
a board,
Las
Iguales.
Lajas, that area,
Yeah,
the
so
church.
Iguales, is it? Yes, it.
Yeah.
Yes, by the church.
Yes.
So I went in that way. I forget that the actual city that is the border city, but yeah, I crossed there. Was on the Pan American Highway there, which was awful,
I
to be
believe it.
honest. Yeah,
Just huge amount of trucks.
yeah, huge amount of truck. Just not what I wanted.
So, I mean, you get into Colombia. Colombia is a country which has this, I mean, it's a conflict, or at least it's
Yeah,
banditry or whatever you want. This is
yeah.
why you stick to the highways, right? This is why you can't go into the interior over the mountains.
Yeah, so it just started to get complicated. I was trying to contact guides. They didn't want to know. People were just. I was like, well, if they don't want to know and his money involved, then
Mm.
that's a bad sign, really. And I was also up against the clock a little bit as well, because I imagined that maybe if I arrived to the villages and then did it that way of asking, maybe that would have been better. If
Mm.
I've heard stories of sort of people doing some things like that, maybe. But anyway, it wasn't meant to be at that time. I needed to get a move on, and that was it. But what was happening was every option I was having was bad. Like I was getting told, everywhere was a red zone because I
Mhm.
was either going up towards, what's it called? Starts with a P. I think it's a white town.
Oh,
It's going up.
Popayan.
Yeah, so I was either
Popayan.
heading up that way, but there apparently was a lot of conflict. Or I was going down to or east to McColl, and
Hmm.
that's a complete red zone.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't getting covered by any sort of insurance anyway, whichever way I went. And then I decided to go to Makoa,
Yes. This
basically.
is
I
this
was
is
dead.
dengue.
Yes, so that's where I had dengue fever and I got bitten by a dog. But yeah, apart from that, it was so beautiful there.
Yeah. We
Really,
I haven't been to Mokoa, and you know that like 10 years ago or a little bit more, there was a huge sort of landslide there. Are there still vestiges of that?
I think so. Yeah, we did see bits. There's a lot of signage for it as well
Mm.
because you go along this gravel road. It's called the Trampoline of Death.
That's right. Pasto to
It's a
Mokoa.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Mm.
so it's a solid name, but it's impressive. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful. I mean, I can see how it could be dangerous, but yeah, I loved it there. And then you drop down, and I basically headed into the desert then, pretty much
Yeah.
after that, up towards Neva.
Okay, that's right. So you
So
cut through up to Neva. I've got a map in my mind's eye. So then you're going up towards Neva. So you're going up through Villa Vieja and the Tatacoa Desert.
yeah, exactly, Tactical Desert. So I sort of come all the way down, and then gradually went back up then to Bogota when I went
All right.
around it. Yeah, but just before Neva, I got mugged.
The three
That
lads with the machetes.
Yeah, so that
Oh,
happened. But it was mad, like even then, like half hour before, I was in somebody's house having a cup of coffee.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you
It's
think
just
that
wrong place, wrong time.
Do you think that they may have alerted, the house may have alerted them, said there's a guy traveling with money?
No, this guy was so nice though. I would never
Mm,
imagined he would. I know it could happen, but honestly, he really wanted me to stay there. He put cheese in my coffee.
yeah, the
Actually,
first time.
yeah, yeah. The first time I've been told about it. I tried the ice cream and cheese and ice cream, but
Oh.
no, nah. I think he was a lovely guy, but I just sort of crossed paths with him. I
Mm.
say hello to everyone, and they just sort of give me this smirk, and I thought, here we go. Here we go. So I carried on, and I very rarely, but I was desperate to look behind me, to
Mm.
see if they were coming. And next thing, they come behind me, charging over with machetes, held them up, and just demanded everything that I had, basically. But they didn't take my rucksack because I was prepared. To be honest, I was prepared for it.
Hmm.
The only mistake I didn't make, the mistake I made was not having a second phone.
Yeah.
Silly, silly, really. I just got complacent because it's nice. People are friendly. Obviously, in the cities, you get some odd looks, but I had that in every city I went to. And then after that, then I carried two phones, and that
Yeah.
was fine.
Do you had cash on you as well that they took?
Yeah, so I had cash in a few different places. Had a bit of a plan. Put some on my hip belt, a very, very small amount. Thought they would ask for more. Give them the money at my hip belt. Showed it to them, and they say, "Look, this is everything." They looked very happy, and I was happy because they looked happy, and they left. And they left, but they seen the shape of my phone.
Mm.
And then they just said, "No, give me my phone." And I just thought, "Oh, what's it worth?" And
Yeah.
I'm glad I did because after speaking with people, and they were telling me stories of what happens when you say no.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I survived. Do you know what I mean? I'm lucky that I could eventually replace those things. Really,
Mm.
that's the bigger picture, isn't it?
So, when you were going through areas that are sort of known as red zones, was there any feeling that you were up, close to, I don't know, former guerrillas or former paramilitaries or any criminal groups or anything?
Yeah. Well, it was more people telling me,
Hmm.
but but looking out for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not in a, I didn't feel concerned. Like I said, walking into the cities, walking out to the cities, I
Yeah.
hated that bit. On all of the continent. I really didn't
Yeah.
like that bit.
That's what I was going to ask really, because, you come up from Neva and Neva, Pitalito, it's around, was it 5.5 hours drive from there
Mm,
to Bogota. But you're coming up through South Bogota, which is, it's not a scenic area.
no. Well, I went round. So I was surprised because I was in Neiva forget the name of the places. Went up and I had a few options then, and I really didn't want to walk into Bogota. I know I spoke to you briefly.
Yeah.
Everybody was telling me to avoid the south,
Yeah. Well,
sort of south east, is it? That
yeah,
area there when
around.
you're coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, the way I can't remember, but I went round to Chia, that way.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a long diversion
yeah.
because
So
Cheers on the north.
yeah. Sorry. So obviously I walked around. I just can't remember the towns leading
Mm.
up to it. But Bogota was always to my east, really. I was always
Yes.
to the, and I sort of arched around the city because I just didn't want to go in there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to avoid it. Obviously, I did go back and see it before I flew home.
Mm.
But especially after what happened, it was just a case of let's just get around this place,
So
let's
you
just
had
get
no
around this.
desire. That's
Yeah,
really interesting. I didn't know that you went all the way around the sort of the
yeah,
western edge of the city, keeping the city
that's
to your
it. Yeah.
east. So what's on the western edge? That's like, but how far out? I mean, do you know like how many kilometers or miles beyond the city you were when you were walking out that western edge?
I don't know exactly. I'm trying to think of the places I
Because it
went
must have
before.
been
I
the
know,
sprawl. There must have been an urban sprawl.
yeah, but actually, what happened was after Neva, I was sort of, obviously you can imagine, I was
Mm.
dreading getting back going in many ways because I started to just think this could happen to me at any time now because it didn't, how easy it happened. I
Hmm.
just remember thinking, please don't happen to me on my first day back. Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
But what happened was it actually started to get quite nice.
Hmm.
Like a nice area. Didn't really have that sort of busy feel that I would imagine a Bogota. More like holiday homes.
Ah, okay. So you must have gone around the hot areas, like
Yeah, maybe
Girardot, Anapoima, that kind of areas.
that's in a
Yeah,
dot. Yes, that's
Girardot,
it.
where it's all
So from
hot and you,
there,
yeah,
you go. So that's the lowest point, and from there, then there's a few ways you can go. And I sort of just went arcing round. Then
yeah.
I wish I had the map of me, but
It's all right.
yeah, and then I headed up into, you start climbing up then
Yes.
dramatically and get into the, what's it called? The moorland in English, but the
The
moors. Pa-
what are they called? The now I'm forgetting it. The altiplano. The
y-
yeah. Well, the high altitude moors.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember the name for it in Spanish, but
It's
sort of was like a
escaping me.
marshland.
Mm-hmm.
It's got so I end up there and then seeing a completely different side of Colombia. Very rural, very authentic,
Mm-hmm.
peaceful, and I think it all just sort of came when I really needed it.
Yeah.
Because this
Yeah.
is also because what happened was when I crossed into Pasto, I was never really looking at the media to be honest with you, but I
Mm.
knew that the border with Venezuela was always going to be my biggest problem. That was
Mm.
sort of what was separating it from anything else. I just couldn't find anybody who'd walked over there.
Mm.
A lot of Venezuelans coming the other way,
Yes.
but no foreign people or anybody like people were telling me you're walking against the rest of the world. That's what
Mm.
people would tell me. Um, so I was constantly getting told that terrible things were going to happen to me there, basically. But then what happened in Pasto, stayed at a hostel, met an Aussie guy who was planning on moving to Colombia, traveled around for years, loved it there. I told him what I was doing, and he sort of went, I don't think so, mate. Like in a really dry. I said, no, I know it's like I know it's complicated, and he's like, nah, I don't think you realize what's going on. And he started to get up all the media and everything, and apparently this new war had kicked off in
Catatumbo. Catatumbo.
Catatumbo, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it happened to be everywhere. I looked then, and I was just in the cafes in the morning. It was like Calcutta's the most dangerous place in the world. I was just like, oh my God, this has been blown up. I was thinking, bloody, obviously the fear really got to me then because I
Mm.
was always pushing it to the back of my mind. But then it was that time then to
Well,
I couldn't push it back anymore. But the
yeah.
reality was, sorry, Rich,
Yes, sorry.
that everywhere I was going, that people it was probably getting more peaceful as I got out of Bogota. It started to get more tranquil, more. invited into more houses, so friend. People would just say, no, it's not you need to worry about.
Mm.
It's 100 kilometers away. It's 100 kilometers away.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And it was never there. It was
Mm.
never where it was. It was always like they worry about the next village, and it's like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just thought the word we were looking for the high altitude planes was the paramos.
Yes,
And of
that's
course,
it.
they have
Thank
those
you.
incredible frailejones plants
Yes,
that flower and so on.
exactly.
It's like, but if you went round the south to go round, so you would have missed Sumapaz, but you went into other ones, and I mean, it is spectacular. Now,
Yeah,
when you mentioned Catatumbo, that was going to be a question of mine because, yeah, it was flaring up and it
yeah,
remains not a great area to this moment. Lots of displaced people,
yeah,
huge amounts of migrants from Venezuela have come in as well there, and so on. Not, yeah. But it's a place that's very close to all of the coca growing areas, coca for
yeah,
cocaine, and Colombia
yeah,
being the number one producer. So it's controlled and by various armed groups, and it's strategic. So I was worried. And many years ago, I say many, 12, 13, 14 years ago, there were two German pensioners driving around the continent in their Land Rover, and they got kidnapped driving up round there. And they
Oh,
thought,
really?
of course, that they wouldn't, because they're just two
Yeah,
German pensioners. But these groups, they don't. The first thing that they think is it is straight up suspicion. No one should
yeah,
be here. So why are you here? So they
yeah,
always think. And then, of course, they were released after a certain amount of time, unharmed. But
mm,
you're a young guy, so
yeah,
therefore they're probably not going to know about Wales. Let's
yeah.
be
No,
entirely honest.
yeah,
They're probably going to see you as a white guy. I think you're CIA or something,
yeah,
or DEA. There was an American guy, and this was more than 10 years ago, about 15 years ago, who had previously been a Marine and I think had spent time in Iraq, done some tours in Iraq or Afghanistan, who was down in a part of the country called Guaviare, who just decided to walk to the Amazon, and then I think it was he wanted to walk to Brazil or something, and within an hour of leaving, like the main place, was kidnapped. And it's like he'd gone off with an iPad and a machete. That was pretty much what he'd gone off with, and he'd been begged by the army, begged by everybody else, the police, do not do this. And he's like, no, I'm a veteran, I can do this. And within
yeah.
about an hour, he was kidnapped. And of course, on the iPad, there were photos of him in military gear from his tours. And so he was held for, I mean, we're not looking at months, but
Yeah.
equally so. Colombia doesn't need more of this,
No.
for
Yeah.
the poor publicity. So it was a fear. It was a fear for
Mm.
me as well that you were going to become another statistic, not a
Yeah.
killing or something, but a kidnapping.
Yeah.
You're going to be front page of the Daily Mail. Nobody wants that.
No, no,
So,
definitely.
um,
And that was the thing is like you hear the stories.
mm,
I met people who was things had happened to them, and so you, it, it's unlikely, but it's possible, isn't it? And
yes,
a lot of things happened to me that I never imagined would happen to me, and they did.
yeah,
So you start to wisen up a little bit. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? But it was even like, well, so what happened to me was 300 kilometers before Cucuta, a
mm-hmm,
car stopped next to me and chatting, asked me where I'm going. Do I need a lift? He came
mm,
out with his wife. I was just in this beautiful place taking a photo or something. And we were chatting, and I said, I explained to him what I was doing. And he said, look, if you need anything, just tell me. And he passed me his number. He was from Cucuta,
mm,
which is really where I wanted to be talking to someone, because I just couldn't find
mm,
anyone there.
mm,
So we exchanged contacts, and then what everyone was saying to me is Pamplona is a university town. Once you get there, it's a beautiful place. You don't need to worry. After there, you really need to start thinking about what you're doing.
mm,
That was sort of the general thing I was getting of. So I went to Pamplona then, which was 70 kilometers before Cucuta.
mm-hmm,
So I had 2 days of walking to get to the border, basically. And my plan was to arrive to Pamplona, take a few days off, and organize a safer way for me to get there.
yes,
Whether I could be followed, I don't know, just start talking to people. Anyway, I arrived to Pamplona on a Sunday. This guy, whose name is Jesus, messages me to tell me that he's going to be in Pamplona the following day, and he wanted to take me for breakfast. Yeah.
Nice.
So he came, took me for breakfast, and he said, "Look, don't worry. I'll take your stuff for you because because I always felt like with a rucksack, it's just
Hmm.
that extra thing that brings attention. Obviously, I stick out like a sore thumb anyway, but it's just that I always thought if I could just get rid of that, that would at least be something I could move faster, these things. And he told me a place I could stay in the middle, and he just said, like, don't worry if you need anything, happy day. So I set off, stayed in a place he told me to. The following day, I arrived at Calcutta. He was at the hospedaje waiting for me, sorted my stuff out. He put me in his car, drove me to the border so I could see the way for the following morning,
Hmm.
took me to his house, and I was there having pizza with all of his family. He dropped me back in the morning. I walked back to his house because he was en route, and he followed me to the border
In his car,
in his car.
just to protect you. But I'd say there
Yeah,
you
well,
go. He doesn't want
yeah,
anything to happen in his part of the country.
yeah. So he didn't follow me. He wasn't 5 meters behind me, but he sort of set off a bit after me.
Yeah.
But like, it was. I just thought this is supposed to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. That's what it was getting regarded as. And I'm in his house with 7, 8 members of his family having pizza. So
Yeah.
what I wanted, the thing for that was like, yes, I don't doubt there's problems and bad things happening there, I'm sure. But even there, I think there's 1 million people. There's so many good people, and it's just a minority that really do cause it. And yeah, that was such a special moment for me because it was the one that kept me up at night, that place, for 2 years. And there I was having pizza in his house. Jesus.
A lot of people don't like Cucuta. I don't mind it at all, but it's just a big border city, is what it
Yeah, it's
is. And so,
hot.
yeah, oh, it's
Very hot.
hot as well. Is that?
Yeah.
But I mean, what you're coming back to again, and you've mentioned all the way up these 8,000 miles, is the kindness of strangers. It
Yeah.
really is, and that someone, something could very easily have happened because
Yeah.
it's Colombia. Let's be entirely honest, and he
Yeah.
wanted to ensure it didn't. So that, I mean, that is
Yeah.
pretty nice. Um,
Yeah.
so to get to Pamplona from the areas that you were at, you would have had to walk over the Paramo de Berlin.
Yeah. So
Was it
it's
pretty chilly
pretty.
up there?
Yeah, it was chilly. I loved it. After Neighbour and dropping into the desert, I couldn't wait to be cold, to be honest. I absolutely loved it up there. And yeah, it was great because I was really pushed to the edge recent before that, and obviously all of these worries that I had. I remember just feeling sick every morning, just thinking, I was because obviously wherever I slept, I was comfortable.
Yeah.
And it just meant I'm stepping out of that comfort now,
Mm.
and who knows what today has in store. Like it was
Well,
just that time. It was that, and it was just it's draining. Being like
yeah.
that for a long period of time is tiring. So
What
then to be in the go on.
yeah. Were you still walking when all the migrants were walking south? The
Yes.
Venezuelans and others.
So I would cross paths with them.
Yeah. Do you have any conversations with them?
Yeah, I did, and well, that was also that hit me hard seeing them as well because it's a bit of an eye opener, really, because I'm like this white guy with really expensive equipment. My tent's worth quite a bit of money, all these things, and I remember just this family coming towards me, pushing a toy pram with
Mm.
a bag of clothes in, and the little girl being on the shoulders. But the best thing, or whatever, is that they stopped and talked to me with a smile on their face.
Mm.
Because they could have been like, fuck you, look at
Yeah.
you with all that equipment. And it just sort of tells well, like, obviously it's a big challenge and everything, but there's a lot more important things going on
Mm.
than
Because
my
it's the
con.
I don't want to say it, but it's the kind of triviality of you doing this for, I know, let's say an expedition and
Yeah,
for fun, whereas they are fleeing a
yeah.
situation that is so
And
miserable.
nobody's sponsoring them.
No,
Not
no.
nobody's doing a podcast. They and
Mm,
it is. And I guess you see the little fires at the side of the road that they'll have in the night. Do you know what I mean? You see, and I'm just thinking, yeah, come down a peg or two, I think. And I know they'll probably go up then into the Darien Gap, some of them with their kids. all these different things. And I met some of them as well who shared stories about their experience doing that. And also then in Venezuela, you meet every family you'll meet will have a story of
Yeah.
somebody going off, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah, I go up there quite frequently up to the border, up near to Panama, and used to see lots of the boats arriving and the kids and
Yeah,
people as coming from as far adrift as Syria, Bangladesh,
really.
Somalia, and they're coming with wheelie suitcases and in the hijabs and so on. And you're like,
Yeah,
do you really know what's happening? And the people
yeah,
from Africa, like I can't remember, Equatorial Guinea was a few. They think that the US is on the other side of the jungle. They're not genuinely
yeah.
not aware. And I'm sort of saying you're going to have the worst 8 days of your life now. You've
Mm,
got this far. You spent this much money. Please
yeah.
be careful. I met some guys in Togo as well. So but I mean, it was just it used to be horrific to watch it. Now they're getting more
Mm,
people coming south because of
really.
the US border policy and
Ah,
the deportations. They're actually getting a trickle. They're not getting people walking north anymore, but a trickle coming back.
oh, really?
It's bizarre the way the world is.
Yeah.
So you got Cucuta and crossing the border into Venezuela can't have been a straightforward experience.
No, well, what happened was, so I had organized to have a guide for Venezuela. Rafa come to meet me at the border, and I think he really helped the process, to
Oh,
be
I'm
honest.
sure he did.
Yeah, so that was a master strike by me, and obviously went on to enhance the experience incredibly. But yeah, he obviously could explain. He was the guide, it was for tourism.
Mm,
We were waiting around for 3 hours,
I believe it.
which was yeah, which was frustrating, but honestly, and I remember just standing there thinking, if they say no now, this is just over, and there's
Hmm.
nothing I can do about it. I could be going home tomorrow. I just had this like bizarre, all this like dream, and they could just go like that, nah. But
Mm,
anyway, they let me in. But what was unbelievable then was, so we waited 3 hours, go to get our passport stamped, and the electric cut off.
of course.
So we had to wait for another 3 hours, but I didn't care. I was just like I was
So
over
long
the
as you knew
moon, to
you're
be honest.
in, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like because it's not as if they're receiving a lot of tourism right now.
No, especially on foot. They're
Yeah.
very skeptical of it. That border there, I imagine you've been as hectic, isn't it? Because
Yes.
it's relatively peaceful. I was surprised to see these like big compound of houses, nice houses. But it's just like anywhere else. I remember thinking, well, there's a bakery there, there's
Hmm.
kids going to school. It's funny to I sort of loved it really as well, because it's all this build up, but still, whatever chaos is going on, maybe up that road there or up that hill, that people are just cracking on as well, like the schools, and it's
Mm.
such a. I'd
Yeah.
never been, well, other borders obviously I'd been up to that point, but it just seems so calm. But then you arrive within 100 meters of the border, and well, I was like a bit of meat, just to
Mm.
them. I just really wanted to get out of there as fast as I could, and but yeah, they put pressure on you, they hassling you, but nobody
Mm.
laid a finger on me. Just sort of
Mm.
kept my head down, really.
Because on the Colombian side, in that final stretch to get to like the bridge, and that
Mm,
final stretch, it's just every different type of tout, trying to sell you something or trying to give you
yeah.
something, and that can be quite overwhelming.
It
Um,
is overwhelming.
mm,
I found it exhausting, and I couldn't find Rafa. So that
mm.
was so you can imagine. I didn't even know what he looked like very well. So it was just I'm going back round now, just like they're thinking
Mm.
what he's lost.
Yeah.
So can we help you? Can we give it da da da?
Mm.
Pulling me back, and I just thought, fucking get me out of here. So
Mm.
anyway, I managed to find Rafa. Went to immigration,
Mm.
asked them can I use the Wi-Fi, and managed to get all of Rafa. That's how I did it
Mm.
in the end. So it worked out all right, but I wouldn't have wanted to be there for too long. Do you know what I mean? It
No.
was
I
pretty
wrote,
intense.
I went up to write a piece about all of the migrants coming across, and
Mm.
people hung on the taxi. I mean, they
Yeah,
draped their bodies on it. I think at one point we might have had 6 people draping their bodies on the taxi, trying to
really.
find, trying to ask or trying to sell or trying to anything. I mean, it
Yeah,
was just like, oh. Anyways, you got up there, you got across, I suppose you get to San Cristobal.
That's it. So that was
Yeah,
the first city really for me then. So yeah, leaving, we spent the night at the border and then left the following day. But it was like 5 or 6 checkpoints, police checkpoints,
I believe it.
which was incredible within about 25 kilometers. I think
Mm,
something ridiculous like that. But the first one, Skep, there was a lot of going through the passport, obviously, but then ringing through. I was thinking, oh my God, maybe this isn't supposed to happen. But then they just seemed to, whether the
mm,
word got around, but they were
yeah.
happy I was there.
Mm,
They wanted to show off Venezuela. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
They're very proud, Venezuelans are. They love Venezuela. They always tell you, got to see this, got to the best coffee in the world, best empanadas, best waterfall, all the different things. And it is an incredible country. But again, I had a fantastic reception in Venezuela. Sometimes there's 20 or 30 people walking with me.
Really?
Yeah,
So it was like that
different
scene out of
walking.
Forrest Gump, everyone
It's
running with you.
exactly what yeah, it was. Did talks in universities, like which was terrifying because obviously it would have been in Spanish, but great, like, really fulfilling
Hang
and
on. We need to revisit that. You were invited to talk at universities.
yeah, in
Oh,
Venezuela.
oh my. And so
Eh,
you stood up
eh,
in front of a huge lecture hall.
Yeah, oh, it was horrible. And I gotta be honest, the first one I did, I was terrible. I produced more sweat than in than Spanish. But the thing was after that was I sort of learnt the script a little bit
Yeah.
then, and my Spanish just completely
Mm,
excelled. Which that again, being with Rafa, his English was next to nothing, so my Spanish was better. So that was the language, and I was always keen. But there were so many people involved now that I was listening constantly, and I
mm,
was trying to talk, and then bit by bit, it sort of come again. It's far from perfect, do you know what I mean?
mm,
But I just have that good base now, but it
mm.
just, well, I could learn more, I could express myself more, I could enjoy myself more. But yeah, and then stand up in front of a school, speaking Spanish was just, and then they're asking questions, and I went on to do about 5 or 6 schools, I think. Yeah,
Really?
the last 3 weeks was intense with people. I did go off. I climbed the highest mountain in Venezuela. Then after that, came down to Merida, and then it was just constant in people's houses. I think 55 nights we slept in 40 houses.
Wow.
Yeah, something like
Wow.
that. Yeah, constantly people invited us in. Say they have the walking group, like the Ramblers we have back home, and they all have their matching kit, and they have the flags and everything, and they're pulling you. They're very forward, very enthusiastic, pulling you. So much coffee. I love coffee, but bloody hell, if there's any reason I was going to die in Venezuela, it was from heart attack for all the coffee I was drinking. So. Their Aragon is the best in the world, and everything's the best in the world there, really. But
Oh, yeah. Merida is a lovely city.
it is,
It is
yeah,
up there in the
it's a
Andes.
really nice
Yeah.
city. I
So,
actually loved it there.
yeah. And then hang on a second. So what when you were invited to talk in schools and so on, what was it? It was a talk about your hike.
Yeah, there was just me explaining what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and then it would sort of open up the questions. And I would stand or sit in front of the university or whatever it was. But it started from somebody who followed me, invited. He said, "You need to come to Merida. You can come stay in my house. Please will you come to the university to do a talk?" We're like, yeah, and then radios got involved, and we started to do media, so people would come to film us, and it was just like a cycle, and next thing it was just sort of radio stations. Every day there was
Mm.
something, and people were waiting on the streets for us to arrive because they were listening on the radio, so they knew we were coming. Oh, it was hilarious, honestly. It was great though. It was all very overwhelming.
So you had like a
But
welcoming party from town
yeah,
to town.
literally, like they were treating me like well, I don't know, but they wouldn't. Yeah, they just wanted to show off the country, and I think they had big hearts, And
Hmm
what my feeling about it was that there is no doubt they're having a very difficult time, but they make the most of it.
hmm
and they have so much spirit, so that is, maybe it is, naturally it is maybe the best country in the world. I don't know, it's a bold statement, but they believe it because they have to, in a way, if they can't leave, or I don't know if I'm putting this the right way, but they find the best things about their country and embrace them, which I think is great, because what it's like in the UK, we all slag off this and that, and actually we're very, very lucky here. But they are sort of the opposite mindset, really, and I just found it amazing to be around.
It's
So yeah,
a word I come back to for Colombia. I suppose it definitely applies to Venezuela. Resilience.
you're Brazilians, yeah. So I was gonna
Resilience is
say,
a lot of that thing. I think it's so heartwarming, of course, that you're a national, you're a celebrity in Venezuela, and of course they are suffering from a dearth of tourism. I don't even know
yeah,
if there's any tourists going there. So you really, cut a different figure. And they must have just been so, as you say, they were so
yeah.
happy to receive you. 55 nights in 40 different houses is a big
Something
deal.
like, yeah, so it's a
Mm.
lot.
Mm.
So really a big, and those nights then would have been high in the mountains where there would
Mm.
have been no civilization. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? So if there was houses there, we were
Yeah.
probably sleeping in it. That's
I'm trying
because
to
we
think where
were,
you go. Merida, then you go, do you descend to where? Where are you descending to? You getting to the coastline?
yeah. So my finish would have been the Caribbean Sea,
Mm.
and I was finishing at Chuao, which is where the best chocolate in the world certified is
Ah,
grown,
okay.
and there's a big sort of African
Mm.
influence there. They can only access it by foot, and it was just fantastic, honestly. So that the Andes actually finish the main chain at Barquisimeto.
Oh, okay,
So
yes.
they would tell you that's sort of the start and the end of the Andes, but then there's the coastal range.
Mm.
So I really, well, I wanted to finish at the sea, to be honest with you, and I always loved it that I could see the coastal range there. So we had it all. I know I climbed the highest mountain, which would have been at 5,000 meters just below, and then everything in between, the jungle, desert, rugged mountains, so much the culture, the people, it was just changing all the time, and then for that tropical finish was incredible, honestly. And again, we had such a great reception. My dad and brother flew over as well,
Nice,
which was fantastic. Yeah.
nice. Did you hike into Caracas?
No.
No, no, I
So
wouldn't have
no.
recommended that.
Yeah, so we finished in at 12, spent time there, and then we
Mm.
had to go there because of the
The,
airport. That's
the
the reason
flights,
we
that's
went
right,
there.
that's right. And I mean, honestly, it just sounds very incredible. I got a question today already from one of the listeners, uh, actually a journalist. So, what are you planning to do for an encore? Are you going to go? Obviously, it's tongue in cheek. Are you going to
Yeah.
go over Niagara Falls in a barrel or something like that?
Yeah, it's a good idea. I didn't think of that one yet, but no, I think about it probably too much, but I'm very much drawn to walking,
Hmm.
and I know that, well, I'm going to be returning back to South America, but I am drawn to sort of Central Asia,
Ah,
that part of the world. So, but
okay.
anyway, I'm gonna try and enjoy this. I don't know, enjoy, because it already feels like it's a thing. Well, it is a thing of the past, isn't it? And I want
Mm.
to sort of write it, get it written. I
Yeah.
dream of writing a book.
Hmm.
So maybe piecing together that I'm sort of getting information on how to do it.
Hmm.
Where do I start? Who do I need to speak to? No, I'm sort of stepping into a new world now when it comes to that side of
Yes.
it. Um, that's it, yeah, and keep moving forward.
And this man then added another thing: is you can't just go back to Swansea and get a job in Starbucks after doing all that.
Yeah,
It's got to be tough.
yeah. Well, this is the other side of it now, is I haven't got any qualifications. I don't have any career, that sort of thing. So, but for me as well, it was a big investment to do something like that. Like I said, the very least I've learned Spanish, but I've learned so much from that. And
Mm.
I feel like what I really want to do is maybe encouraging people to find the benefits of outdoors, of adventure, and working with a charity, doing bits in the schools now. But it's taking time.
Hmm.
And I think, like, I thought, right, I'm going to finish this, and then all these opportunities are going to be waiting there for me. But it doesn't really work like that. It can do, and they are unraveling. But at the same time, I got to earn money. I think I said to you last week. Do you know what I mean? So I am back doing groundwork in, which is not my passion, but I'm just still building what I dream of doing. I say, and the other thing is, I want to keep doing these adventures, so I can't sign up for too much either, because it won't be so long till I'll be gone again. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think Central Asia? You think through the different like Uzbekistan and all the old
Yeah.
Silk Route type thing?
Yes, that's
Mm.
sort of. But yeah, I that's sort of the core of it, I suppose. But there's different areas I want to go to, and I've always been drawn to that part of the world as well. Um, but I would like to prepare better, and definitely. So I will take more time doing that, really. But
Mm.
time is going so fast. But yeah, I'm definitely just drawn to this slow way of travel and learning to share the story, really. I think adventure and just storytelling in general can be so powerful, can it?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's been an incredible conversation over 2 episodes with you, Oliver. I think you've really done something quite spectacular. And following your Instagram, I'm looking at it here, the ones you've pegged. This is obviously going over the Salar de Uyuni you've got here. You've
Yeah,
got recent things from, I guess, the Yorkshire Dales, which I do
yeah,
like very much.
yeah. That was the weekend.
But there's other things going on. You can skim back through Oliver's Instagram and follow it there. Pretty amazing. Walking in the Andes, Oliver Treviso. Well, I wish you all the best as you
Yeah,
plan whichever is your next expedition. I'm sure when people started talking to you about the dangers of Colombia and Venezuela, they will say the same things about Iran. You never know.
yeah,
Um, but yes, do your preparation. It's a different part of the world. Who knows? I'm sure there will be the kindness of strangers. Um, that's the British former Conservative member of Parliament. Can't remember right off the top of my name. I can't remember him, and I should remember him. He did a walk across Central Asia some years ago. Give me a second, I'll find his
what's his
name.
name? Ah,
Just a second. He's on the Rest is Politics webs. It is. Hang on a second. I got it now. About here he is. Rory Stewart,
that's
and
it.
it's
I've been
called The
told.
Places in Between. His book
Ah,
on that. So it might be worth reading that book,
yeah. I
The
need to
Places
write
in
that
Between.
down.
But I wish you all the best. And of course, we've posted the charity up on the Facebook page and on LinkedIn as well, so that you can raise some cash for this mental health charity. Thank you so much for coming back on to finish up Colombia and Venezuela. And we're sending you all the best to Swansea and of course the Mumbles, the
Yeah,
Mumbles Pier out
yeah,
there, my friends on the Mumbles Pier. And well, let us know what your next expedition is.
yeah. I'll give you a shout before. I might even
Definitely.
be back in Colombia at some point in the next 6 months, so I'll give you a shout.
Definitely. I'm not going anywhere. So, yes, definitely. And well, congratulations on anything. And it's so nice to see someone, so upbeat, and you've had incredible heartwarming experiences, and I think that's
Yeah,
what you've taken away from this, aside from uh,
definitely.
incredible fitness as well. But
Yeah.
it's all right. And, all right. Well, thank you so much, Oliver, for your time. It has been really fun to discuss this hike all the way from the bottom of Argentina to the top of Venezuela. It's at 21 months, 8,000 miles, 9 pairs of shoes, 7 countries.
Seven
Seven
countries.
countries. Oh, right. Well, thank you again. Everybody look up Oliver's Instagram there. Just put in Oliver Treviso and, of course, Walking the Andes. You can get in touch that way if you're interested. if you want to help out in any way. And well, this has been the Colombia Calling podcast. And I've been Richard McColl talking to Oliver. So have a good rest of the week, Oliver.
Thank you, and yourself.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.